Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Yeah, Achyut Prabhu, when you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtike. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 12, verses 1 through 11. Text 1 to 2. Sukadev Goswami said, "The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, in the form of a woman, captivated the demons and enabled the demigods to drink the nectar." After hearing these pastimes, Lord Shiva, who is carried by a bull, went to the place where Madhusudan the Lord resides. Accompanied by his wife Uma and surrounded by his companions, the ghost, Lord Shiva went there to see the Lord's form as a woman. Text 3. The Supreme Personality of Godhead welcomed Lord Shiva and Uma with great respect, and after being seated comfortably, Lord Shiva duly worshipped the Lord and smilingly spoke as follows. Text 4. Lord Mahadev said, "O chief demigod among the demigods, O all-pervading Lord, Master of the universe, by your energy you are transformed into the creation. You are the root and efficient cause of everything. You are not material. Indeed, you are the super soul or supreme living force of everything. Therefore, you are Parameshwar, the supreme controller of all controllers." Text 5. The manifest, the unmanifest, false ego, and the beginning, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation all come from you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because you are the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality, Supreme Absolute Spirit Soul, the Supreme Brahman, such changes as birth, death, and sustenance do not exist in you. Text 6. Pure devotees or great saintly persons who desire to achieve the highest goal in life and who are completely free from all material desires for sense gratification engage constantly in the transcendental service of your lotus feet. Text 7. My Lord, you are the Supreme Brahman, complete in everything. Being completely spiritual, you are eternal, free from the material modes of nature, and full of transcendental bliss. Indeed, for you there is no question of lamentation. Since you are the supreme cause, the cause of all causes, nothing can exist without you. Yet we are different from you in a relationship of cause and effect. For in one sense the cause and the effect are different. You are the original cause of creation, manifestation, and annihilation, and you bestow benedictions upon all living entities. Everyone depends on you for the results of his activities, but you are always independent. Text 8. My dear Lord, your lordship alone is the cause and the effect. Therefore, although you appear to be two, you are the absolute one, as there is no difference between the gold of a golden ornament and the gold in a mine. There is no difference between cause and effect. Both of them are the same. Only because of ignorance do people concoct differences and dualities. You are free from material contamination, and since the entire cosmos is caused by you, cannot exist without you. It is an effect of your transcendental qualities. Thus, The conception that Brahman is true and the world false cannot be maintained. Text 9. Those who are known as the impersonalist Vedantist regard you as the impersonal Brahman. Others, known as Mimamsa philosophers, regard you as a religion. The Sankhya philosophers regard you as a transcendental person who is beyond Prakriti and Purusha, and who is the controller of even the demigods. The followers of the codes of devotional service, known as the Pancharatras, regard you as being endowed with 9 different potencies. And Pantajala philosophers, the followers of Patanjali Muni, regard you as the supreme independent personality of Godhead who has no equal or superior. Text 10. O my Lord, I who am considered to be the best of the demigods, and Lord Brahma and the great rishis headed by Marichi are born of the mode of goodness. Nonetheless, we are bewildered by your illusory energy and cannot understand what this creation is. Aside from us, what is to be said of others, like the demons and human beings, who are in the base modes of material nature, Rajoguna and Tamoguna? How will they know you? Text 11. My Lord, you are the supreme knowledge personified. You know everything about the creation and its beginning, maintenance, and annihilation, and you know all the endeavors made by the living entities by which they are either implicated in this material world or liberated from it. As the air enters the vast sky and also enters the bodies of all moving and non moving entities, you are present everywhere, and therefore you are the knower of all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Chit Prabhu, for reading the translations today. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining this Friday morning. Here's something from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 12, text 1 to 11. I'll start by offering my prayers. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare Kam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Rangayate Kirim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurutin Taranam. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Again, thank you, Achyut Prabhu, for reading the translations today. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 12, text 1 to 11 today. Just to summarize briefly, we have seen how in the last chapter, the wonderful pastime of the churning of the milk ocean was completed. And we see how that pastime was elaborately described, how the demigods and the demons come together to churn the milk ocean on the guidance of Lord. And with the Lord's help in each and every step, they were able to obtain the nectar. And how, with the mercy of the Lord, the nectar was obtained by the demigods. And then a great battle ensues. And in that great battle, how the demigods came victorious. Once that battle was over, we now move on to the next chapter. And in the last part of the churning of the milk ocean pastime, we'd seen how the Lord had appeared in a wonderful form of Mohini Murti. And they said that when the Lord appears in that form as a woman, as a female, his personality, his beauty is even more attractive than even the goddess of fortune. That so the glories of that form of that pastime had spread far and wide, and even Lord Shiva, when he heard about this, he had an intense desire to come and observe this wonderful form of the Lord. So it is so in this first shloka, it is said that Sukdev Goswami says that Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, in the form of woman, captivated the demons and enabled the demigods to drink the nectar. So Lord Shiva, when he was reminiscing about this particular pastime in the form of the Lord, he had an intense desire to to participate in this Leela, or to at least observe this wonderful form of the Lord. So when we heard the wonderful attributes of devotional service, and we talked about the quality of smaranam when we heard from Sri Hari Parshad Prabhu. This we see that Lord Shiva is a classic example of how wonderfully he practices this devotional service of remembrance of the Lord, smaranam. Now, he's constantly, whenever we see any pictures depicting Lord Shiva, we see that he is in meditation trance, and it's described that by the acharyas that he's actually reminiscing about the pastimes of the Leelas of the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna. So in this particular way also, when he was absorbed in intense remembrance of the pastime, and he wanted to see for himself this form of the Lord, he expresses his desire to his um, to Mother Parvati and to his associates, and they all together go to approach Lord to see this wonderful form of him appearing as Mohini Murti. So in text 3, when Lord reaches the abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead, both him and along with Mother Uma or Mother Parvati, Lord greets him. Lord is always Bhakta Vatsal. So as soon as he sees, oh, one of my topmost devotee has come to visit me, he becomes very pleased, and he greets him. He gives him a place to sit, and then Lord Shiva goes on to worship the Lord. The next sequence that we'll see from text 4 to 11, we'll see a very nectarian description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the greatest Vaishnava that is there. That's Lord Shiva. These are wonderful prayers glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Lord Shiva, in which Lord Shiva is describing several attributes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we'll take these attributes one by one and see how Lord Shiva emphasizes on these different aspects or different qualities of the Supreme Personality. In text 4, the Lord Shiva goes on to describe the attribute that the Lord is the supreme controller. So it is said that we are all in a way controllers to a degree of our life. We can control some things, but we're out of control of other things as well. We're actually dependent on a lot of things. Sometimes we don't like to think like that. We can in a way think of us as mini Ishvara. Ishvara means controller, and we are mini Ishvaras. There are some things that we can control. There are some plans, some agendas that we can make in our lifetime. But we know from practical experience that all our plans do not fructify. They do not come to the conclusion that we thought they should or we thought they would be. Especially, when we think that we are many controllers, we realize when we become parents and have kids, how soon things are not under our control. We may wish to have a certain desire, a certain plan for our children, but we realize soon that actually they have a plan of their own, a mind of their own. So very soon we realize that actually we can only control maybe a tiny bit of our life and make some decisions that actually happen the way we want. But a lot of things happen outside our will, outside our desire. And when we become devotees, we understand that actually that happens with the will of the Supreme Lord. So although we are in a way mini Ishvara, we are very, very small in our extent of control. But beyond the mini Ishvara, we see the Ishvara. And the Ishvara are the demigods. They are the controllers of much, in a much greater platform. So we see Agni Devta controls the fire. We see the Vayu Devta controls the wind. We see Indra Devta he controls he's the control of all the other demigods. He's the leader of the demigods. So in this particular way, they are also controllers. They are Ishvara. But even their control is not without fail. It also has its limitations. And it also is dependent on the power of the Supreme Personality of God. There was a wonderful story that was described, and Srila Prabhupada I didn't find a reference from Prabhupada about the story, but I had heard this from a devotee. There's a common statement that Prabhupada often refers in purports of Srimad Bhagavatam in different places, that not even a blade of grass can move without the will of the Supreme Personality of God. So once the demigods, having achieved victory over the demons, they were sort of celebrating their victory in the heavenly planet. And during that celebration, they were all cheering up each other. And the Agni Devta said, I know we all fought very nicely, we all fought very bravely, but really it was the power of my fire energy that really brought all the weapons to life, and because of that we were able to win the war. This fire energy is very, very crucial and is the most important. Saying that my contribution was the most important. And then the Vayu Devta says, oh, without the Vayu, without air, even the fire will not burn. So actually the Vayu is more important. And then Indra Devta says, no, because of my lightning thunderbolt, all the enemies got scared, and that is most important. In this way, they started arguing about who was the main controller because of which the war or the battle was won. So in order to humble them and to destroy their pride, Lord Vishnu appears there as a Brahmana, or some versions describe him appearing as a Yaksha. He appears there, and they are all enamored, all the demigods enamored by his beauty, and they inquire of him that who are you, who you are. And the Brahmana Yaksh says, but that leave me, but who are you? Who are you all? And they say, oh, you don't know us. We are so powerful beings. We control so many things. Then he says, okay, let me see how strong or powerful you are. And he takes a blade of grass and he puts the blade of grass in front of them. And he says to Agni Devta, let me see if you can burn it. And Agni Devta tries his best to burn it. He's not able to burn it. Then the Vayu Devta tries and he's not able to blow off the blade of grass. And Indra tries, he realizes that this is not an ordinary person and this is not an ordinary test. So finally, they all become humble and realize that actually we cannot even move a blade of grass. But who are you that who's so much powerful? And then the Lord reveals himself that actually all your energies are coming because of me. You have control, you have power, but your power and control is very limited. Although they are Ishvara, the demigods, they are not unlimited. Beyond these controllers of the universe, there is a supreme controller in this universe, or a great controller in this universe, who's called Mahani Ishvara or Maheshwara. And Maheshwara is Lord Shiva. He is the material sort of incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in this particular way, he is the chief among the demigods, Maheshwara. But through this particular pastime that we are going to read about the interaction of Lord Shiva with Mohini Murti, we understand that even the Maheshwara is not having complete control, but is under the control of the Lord's external energy. So in this particular way, we realize that the many Ishwaras are not in full control, the Ishwaras are not in full control, the Maheshwara is not in full control. So ultimately, the full control rests with the Parameshwara. And Parameshwara is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this particular shloka, Lord Shiva addresses the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Jagadish. Jagadish means the controller of the entire universe, material and spiritual, both. In this particular way, we see how Lord Shiva is describing the supreme controlling aspect of the Supreme Personality of God. In text 5, the theme of his particular prayer is describing that the Lord is supremely inexhaustible. That everything that we see in this world, including spiritual energy and material energy, they are all manifesting from Supreme Personality of God. But because the Lord is the supreme absolute truth, this changes that happen do not affect him directly. What do we understand with that? That we understand from the Ishopanishad invocation mantra, Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. That although the Lord is the complete whole, the units that emanate from the Lord are also complete in themselves. So it's not that if you take out something from the complete whole, that the complete whole becomes one less or something less. The complete whole functions itself as a complete unit, and the products of that also function as complete unit because the Lord is infinite. So if you take something out from infinite, it still remains infinite. It cannot be subtracted. That is the definition of infinite. So that's the power of Lord's energy. But although the Lord and is doesn't exhibit any changes, the characteristics of the material world or the material energy is it constantly exhibits undergoes certain changes. The nature of something spirit or spiritual is that it is Sat Chit Anand. It is full of knowledge, full of bliss, and it is eternal. It does not change with time. And that is what is spiritual. But understanding that that is the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the material energy that we see, Sri Prabhupada describes in many places, undergoes 6 transformations or Shadavikar. The first transformation, anything that's material that undergoes, is called Janma or birth. Second is Vriddhi, which is growth. Third is Sthiti or sustenance. So the body is born, it grows, it sustains. The next thing it does is it gives byproducts or offsprings. That is called vikar. The fifth thing that happens to the body is it starts degrading, and it's called kshay. And the last thing that happens is after it slowly degrading, it dies off, and this it's called mrityu. So in this particular way, whatever in this world is material undergoes these 6 transformations, including our material body. But what is spirit, that is the Jivatma, that is free from this 6 transformations because the spirit is made of Satchidanand. And in that sense, the Supreme Spirit or the Supreme Absolute Spirit Soul, as described here, the Lord Himself, He does not undergo any particular changes and He's inexhaustible. So we see that wonderful quality described by Lord Shiva. In text 6, it goes on to describe the qualities of pure devotees. So Lord Shiva is not just glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it's also glorifying the pure devotees. And in the Bhagavatam Subodhini, His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu has beautifully broken down this into four points about the devotees that are being glorified. So the first point that about pure devotees, Lord Shiva mentions is that the pure devotees are Tavaiva Charanam Bhojam, that they constantly engage in service of the lotus feet of the Lord. The devotees are always free from misery because they have one minded attention. They have a focus constantly in each and every situation, remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His lotus feet. That is one quality. Second is they're engaged in Shreyas Kama. Shreyas Kama means the highest material goal. So they're not interested in something that is just part of this material creation, a part of something that is temporary in this material goal. But the devotees are always interested and focused on achieving the highest goal, that is the bhakti, the desire to achieve the highest goal of life. So it is the devotees are pure devotees are compared to the Chataka bird. So we see that the Chataka bird, he drinks only the drop of rainwater that is pouring down from the sky. He'll remain thirsty. He'll drown in water. He'll drown in the river, but he'll drown with his beak up from the water so that even when he's drowning, he doesn't drink anything that is fallen on this ground because he is so much attached to the rain clouds that he's always looking towards that in each and every situation. He is not satisfied by the dirty water of this material creation. So in this particular way, he always remembers that. Um, in this In our scriptures, a guidance is given for people to slowly uplift themselves as we follow four principles, which is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So when I was traveling with His Holiness Anand Krishna Maharaj, he shared a wonderful, analogy. He stated that most people in this world, they are only interested in dharma, artha, kama. These three things they are apt in performing. Most people in the mode of goodness. So when we say dharma, they do acts of religion, acts of piety, and then when you say artha, that means earning a livelihood, and they're expert at that. And we say kama, it's about sense gratification, and they're also expert on that. But the last part, that is moksha, people are not interested, or people don't give enough time to it. And the analogy Maharaj shared with me was about it's called Resham ka Kida, or a silkworm. So what a silkworm does is in its lifetime, the silkworm, is busy creating a cocoon of made of silk, which is very delicate, soft, beautiful in appearance, and it spends its lifetime spinning around that cocoon, but it doesn't leave a hole for it to come out of it. So as a result, as it spins the cocoon, it gets trapped in the cocoon and ends its life. Similarly, for the people in this world, the people who are materialistic inclined, although they are involved in dharma, artha, kama, they should always keep one part open and keep the focus in life on moksha, so that they have a plan of what to do when the time comes to leave the body. And that time can come anytime. So that should be a daily practice, and that's how we can reach to people who are absorbed in this material universe. So in this particular way, we saw the four wonderful qualities Lord Shiva describes with the pure devotees. In text 7, the theme of the prayer is that the Lord is supremely independent. So not only the devotees are independent of the effects of the material world, but the Lord is supremely independent. In this particular prayer, Lord Shiva goes on to describe, and Srila Prabhupada elaborates in the purport about the Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva, that although the Lord is the cause of the material creation, at the same time, He is one with it, being the cause, but He is different from it, that He is not a result of it. So, in the same way, the Lord is one as well as different from the cause and effect of this material creation. The other thing that's described is Lord is supremely independent, so He's completely free to give His mercy and blessings to anybody He likes. And that is why a devotee doesn't go and demand something from the Lord, but he understands that if the Lord is pleased, he can do anything. There is no restrictions, there is no rule book that the Lord has to follow. And that is really what is the definition of mercy. Mercy means getting something, achieving something which you don't deserve. And that is what is mercy. So doesn't follow a rule book, it doesn't follow certain guidance, but it comes out of the supreme will of the Lord. And Lord being completely independent, he can do this. And that is what a devotee also, when he approaches the Lord, he understands that, and he prays to the Lord in that particular mode. In this next text 8, we see that the quality of the Lord that's described is He's supremely absolute. I'd recommend devotees to read the purport to this wonderful prayer. Srila Prabhupada has extensively described of how the nature of the Lord is supremely absolute. So I'll just highlight a couple points. Prabhupada goes on to describe that the Mayavadi philosophers often state that Brahman Satya, Jagat Mithya, that this world, material creation, is false. The only truth that exists in this universe is the Brahman energy of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada gives an example by comparing gold and the ornament of gold. That although the ornament of the gold is made from gold, and it which comes from the gold mine, so they are equal in quality with each other. Although the form may appear different, but they're equal in quality. But that doesn't mean that the gold necklace does not exist. Because the gold necklace exists, that means that the gold must be existing in its raw form somewhere or the other in this universe. Similarly, the Lord being supremely absolute, can appear in different energies in different parts of this universe. But that also does not negate his form. It means that when we understand that although the Lord exists in form of different energies, all the source of the energies is the energetic, supreme form of the personality of God. Thus, that conception that Brahman is true and the world is false cannot be maintained. In text 9, Prabhupada, in this verse, it described certain different philosophers, how they approach the impersonalists. Vedantists see the Lord as the impersonal Brahman energy. The Mimamsaka philosophers see the Lord in the form of dharma or religion. The Sankhya philosophers glorify the transcendental person who is beyond Prakriti and Purush. And the followers of the Pancharatrika Vidhi, they follow the devotional service of the Lord. And then the Patanjali philosophers, they regard Lord as the supreme independent personality of God, without an equal or superior. In text 10, the quality of the Lord being supremely unknowable is described. Lord Shiva himself acknowledges that even I, who is considered the best of the demigods, and Lord Brahma, who is considered the father of this material universe, and the great rishis, even though we are born on the mode of goodness, we are bewildered by your illusory energy and cannot understand. Srila Prabhupada describes in the purport, forget those people who are in Tamo Gun and Rajo Gun. They are already completely entangled in this material world. Even the people in the mode of goodness, they have a lot of difficulty understanding who Lord is. And we realize this when we encounter multiple people who are sattvic in nature in terms of preaching, that although they are sattvic and they have all the good qualities, they have a lot of trouble understanding the form of the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that one of the reasons Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport is because a lot of people, they follow their own dogmatic principles without understanding and without realizing the Shastras, or what's described in the previous verses, Pancharatrika Vidhi, without understanding a proper process of devotional service as described in a parampara or in a disciplic succession. It is very, very difficult to understand the entire truth about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as example, when I read about this, it occurred to my mind that even in this material world, in different fields, we have an authorized way to do things, but people who do not follow that, they end up in trouble themselves and cause a lot of trouble and havoc to society. So I could think about an example from medicine, that we have an authorized program of how we train physicians in allopathy, Ayurveda, and homeopathy. But you find that across the world, not just in India, there are practitioners who make up their own system and their own medication, and they may practice in certain way, not unauthorized way, and that results in a lot of detrimental consequences to people who follow them, and eventually to them also. So in this particular way, we have to realize that we have to follow the prescribed process in any scientific method, including the method of devotional service. Coming to the last point, in text 11, the last quality that Lord Shiva describes before moving on to request the Lord to show his wonderful Mohini Murti form. In this particular prayer in the text 11, he describes Lord as the supreme knower. And it is elaborated in great detail in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 3 that the Lord is the Kshetragya. So there is something called the Kshetra, which is the influence of the material energy, the material extent. But there is something called Kshetragya, the one who is the knower of this Kshetra. And although we may know certain limited aspects about our own body or our own sphere of influence, the Lord, being the supreme knower, he knows about everything. He knows about you, about me, and about everything that is there. And he also says in Bhagavad Gita that I am the Upadrishta and Anumanta, that I am the neutral observer of everything that is going on in one's life. And honestly, he's our closest friend. There's nothing that we can hide from him because he knows he is the supreme knower of everything that exists. So in this particular way, Srila Prabhupada describes in the purport that just like air is present everywhere. There's no place that we can really create a vacuum. We could temporarily create vacuum, but eventually even air gets there. Similarly, the presence of the Lord is present everywhere. With this particular last prayer, Lord Shiva completes his prayers, and then we'll see from tomorrow's session in text 12 how Lord Shiva will request the Lord to show his wonderful Mohini Murti form. With this, we'll end our discussion today. Thank you, dear devotees. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.